Hey guys, another video where I'm videoing my screen because I know we all love that. But anyways, people ask questions all the time, so I make these videos. And yeah, if you like them, watch them. Otherwise, well, don't. Okay, so I'm looking at getting a new side-by-side. I've had two Talons now, and my current Talon, 8-inch portals and 38s and all that, isn't really built for speed anymore. And in half the McCoy trails, I rode a lot of my friends' stock Talons, and it made me really want to get something a little sportier again. I really miss the sideways action and all that kind of stuff. So threw together a list of a couple side-by-sides that I'm interested in. And then their specs, of course, because that's the first thing you do when you start looking at a machine is you look at the specs, and then you look at reviews, and then you go test drive them. That way you know what you're doing when you go test drive them, and you know how to put the salesman in their place when they lie to you and tell you things that are just absolutely wrong because they're salesmen. So these are the ones I'm interested in. Obviously, I hate belt drives. I always have. I've had several now. I've had like 5 Polarises and two Can-Ams and a Wolverine and some others. So I try them every once in a while. I don't keep them very long just because not being able to shift gears really ruins about half the fun of a side-by-side. So you can see from this list, everything here is a belt drive except for the YXZ. The Talon is honestly still the best all-around side-by-side out there. Problem is I have a very short attention span and constantly need new things and new content for the channel. I've already had 2 Talons, and I want to wait to get another Talon until Honda beefs up the suspension a little bit more. Not really beefs up, but improves. The Talon low-speed ride quality has room for improvement, and the way that the rear rebound dampening has room for improvement, and just the rear geometry in general. So hopefully Talon will figure out their suspension, and I'll buy another one soon. I do plan on doing a turbo Talon. But unfortunately, at the moment right now, getting your hands on a Talon is very hard. Getting your hands on any of these vehicles is very hard. The only one on this list I can actually go buy today, which I might, is the RMAX 2. I can get an RMAX 2 Sport. So that's my list summary. I'm going to go through each one and tell you the pros and cons. I've done a good bit of research, and I've also driven most of these. So I color code these top ones. As you can see, the Defender Limited is only on here because I like the full cab, the AC, and the heat for doing stuff in wet weather or like in cold areas. Obviously, I'd love to get it for those reasons, but it doesn't really work for going deep in water with the AC system. It doesn't have enough suspension travel, and it's got a lot less horsepower and everything else on this list, and it's the most expensive. So that probably isn't going to happen. I did talk to some Power Sports about ordering one, and they told me it would be a while, but I could get on the list. I would like to test one out just to see how well that AC system can actually hold up to some serious off-roading. So that one's pretty much out, so we'll start at this side. The RMAX 2. So I had a Wolverine 850, which is, I don't care what anyone says, very, very similar to the RMAX. Yeah, the RMAX got more horsepower, it's got more displacement, higher compression, it's got more suspension travel, yada, yada, yada. But like the design of it, the seat layout, whatever, very similar to the Wolverine 850. The frame's very similar, etc. Things I like about it is it has a lot of rear suspension travel. It's got the most on this list other than YXZ, but pretty much ties the YXZ. The Sport comes with fully tunable shocks with compression rebound adjustment, not the stupid QS3 that the Talon has, which I like. And I like that it, and I like that it's a Yamaha. It probably has the best belt drive system out of any of these. Problem with it is it's extremely hard to snorkel because of where the engine's located. The engine being located kind of in the middle does help its weight distribution. But it's just hard to snorkel, and they do have really flimsy tie rods. People bend tie rods on them all the time, which is a common problem with my Wolverine as well. And, it's a belt drive. So, yeah, it's got power, it'll slide around a little bit. Suspension's really good, really compliant, all that stuff. And it's got a dump bed, which is very practical, but it's not snorkeled, and it's a belt drive. So that's the real problems there. The Commander XMR, I like that because it's basically a Maverick Sport XMR with a dump bed. The problem with it is you do lose the Fox shocks. You don't get those on the Commander XMR, but it has that smart lock front locker, obviously factory snorkeled. All this holds true for really these two. These are pretty much the same machine. You can see the wheelbase is the same, the width is the same. The Commander's a lot heavier because it's got a big bed, but Can-Am's weight measurements don't mean anything because they're idiots. Can-Am doesn't publish their turning radius, which I find pretty annoying. Whatever. Maverick Sport XMR, I have had a few buddies with those. They're great. They do have some issues with, water getting ECU, smart lock going out with really big tires, your clutches going out in the primary getting welded to the crankshaft, etc. the normal Can-Am stuff, obviously, but they do have really good snorkels, really big snorkels, very high flow snorkels, and they have really low range gears. So that's an interesting option, but you know, again, can't find one right now to buy one. So YXZ, I've wanted one of those for a long time. I almost got one for the Talon, and I didn't buy it because of its durability issues and because it doesn't have low range. So I don't have the option with the Talon. You can go from running a 28 to a 33 in the same weekend, and you don't have to do anything, right? The machine is just good to go. Leave it in low range, it works fine on 33s. Leave it in high range, and it works great on 28s. You don't have that flexibility with the YXZ. The YXZ does have way better suspension. It has a clutch, which is fun, but people burn the clutches out in them all the time. It has a better front locker, meaning it has a front locker, but it's kind of a weak locker, and the spider gears like to explode. It's also got a divorced transmission, and it's kind of a complicated driveline setup with a lot of extra seals. And the transmission is a bear to get to if you ever have to change the clutch or you want to put lower gears in it or whatever. There is good aftermarket support for the YXZ, and it probably is the most fun thing on this list because you can shift gears. But, you know, I don't know. Currently, what I'm leaning between is the YXZ and the RMAX 2. The only reason I'm really considering the RMAX 2 is because I can go buy one today. They're in stock all over the place for some reason. That's the only thing on this list I could go buy today. The nearest YXZ is in North Carolina. The nearest XMR is like in Tennessee. And I don't even know where on earth I could find a Defender Limited or another Talon right now. So that's just what I'm looking at. If you guys have any other ideas you want me to research, please comment below. Or if you have any feedback on these particular machines, like, hey, don't get an RMAX 2. It's a piece of shit. My frame bent, like my Wolverine did. But yeah, interested to see your opinions.